I've done a good amount of podcasts.
Yeah, that's right. You have done more podcasts. The only podcasts I have done have been the one that I've been trying to make myself. So,
Sure.
I get it. All right. Welcome to Horror First Timers, the chilling podcast where every scream, every gasp, and every heart-pounding moment is fresh and unfiltered.
Woo!
Hey, we're back. It's been a while. Had some troubles putting out the Bad Moon episode. It is out now. Not with any video or any video that looks good, by the way. But it is out. So this week we have my good friend Bailey Sullivan.
Hello.
Say hi. Say hi. This man does music. He is in a band called Careful Gaze. Plug that shit, dude.
I play guitar in a band called Careful Gaze.
Yeah.
You can listen, or you were on the things, the apps, you know, all that good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. He's in town because we saw Metallica. If you
couldn't tell.
If you couldn't tell, we saw Metallica this weekend in Seattle, and it was fucking awesome.
It was very sick.
And we've decided on our last day together, Labor Day, our day off, we decided to watch a film. This week is Mother with a exclamation point by Darren Aronofsky. It came out in 2017. One could say psychological horror thriller. What would you say? Would you agree with that?
Definitely like a psychological thriller. I get what you said earlier when we were talking in the car just about like how people classify horror.
Yeah,
and that's I get it now after watching that. Of like there wasn't anything that was like necessarily like spooky or jump scary, but like it was still like it was horrific.
Yeah. So just to give you guys some context, the way I classify horror movies is essentially if something is horrifying in the movie, I'm going to put it on my horror movie shelf instead of something that's just intense and not really horrifying. That would go on the regular movie shelf with just thrillers. But movies like this or movies like Seven or usually the ones that
Seven's
have to deal with like
that.
Serial killers, like the police dramas and procedurals.
Sure.
Those can be very horrifying, like Zodiac, Seven.
See, I wouldn't.
Silence of the Lambs.
Silence of the Lambs, yes. I wouldn't consider Zodiac. I feel like
that's more on the thriller side. There is a couple scenes in there that is like,
there's some moments where you're like, ooh, but it's kind of washed out by the very, very strong cop drama.
Yeah, Seven though.
Yeah,
Seven is horrifying.
What's in the box?
There's some deaths in there that are you just can't get out of your brain. It's not about that. Not about that. So we watched Mother. Very interesting film. Very controversial film when it came out, if I remember correctly. Bailey doesn't know any of this because he actually does not know anything about this movie when we
just
picked
it off the shelf. I went over to the little horror section over there and just kind of went through and picked ones I thought were cool. There were a couple in there that I did know like stuff about. So
yeah, with Maddie, because I have her on like every other episode now. I'll usually do the same thing. I'll be like, go look at the shelf, go see what go and see what sounds cool to you that you have not seen before, and we'll pick something and watch it. But before we actually do the picking, I'll give her like a small synopsis of each movie, and she'll pick on vibes according to that. So,
well, I actually picked it because the sleeve stood out from a lot of the other ones that were up on the shelf around it, and I pulled it out and like saw like who was in it. I was like, oh, this like has to be crazy. And then when we were talking about like the director and everything and how he did Requiem for a Dream, where I was like, okay, this is probably something I can get down with.
It's gonna be intense in some sort of way. And then back to what I was getting at anyways was some of the reviews on it being controversial when it first came out. I thought there would have been more reviews on here. Never mind. Some of the reviews from this movie, I'll post one or two up on the video, but they were just like absolutely horrendous, saying that whatever Darren Aronofsky did with this movie was just like an absolute mockery to filmmaking as a whole, and it was like absolutely offensive to have Jennifer Lawrence's character like go through all of that to end that way. And we'll get into that more, but that was the controversy. But after I saw the movie, it kind of makes sense that someone would be offended.
I
but
could
I
see
think
why
it's
people would
supposed
get
to.
upset by it, especially if there's religious connotation involved, which like I picked up near the end just with a lot of what was going on. But like if there's a specific story that it is following, I have no idea. It's one of those things where I could understand you not liking it, like for sure. I can understand it being not someone's cup of tea, but man, I thought there was some like absolutely stunning shots.
A lot of
the lack of soundtrack as well. So like there's no music in the
zero soundtrack
entire film, and it's I loved the moments, and we'll get into it more, but like there's these like really strong moments of sound design that happen that is just it sticks out and is like so much more like disconcerting because you have no like music cues anywhere to like tell you what's going on.
Yep. Real quick, I remember reading about this like a while ago. The composer Johan Johansson, I think he has since passed away, but he did music for like Mandy, and some other big name movies I can't name off the top of my head. But he was gonna do like a score for this, had a whole score written out, and then after watching it with the music, him and the director Darren both like mutually decided like, let's take the music out. It doesn't work. It doesn't work with it. It works better with no music.
Yeah,
So,
it was very it helped with the
very
off-putting vibe, definitely.
yeah. Let's get on with it. As I'll say in every episode, we are not going to go through the movie step by step, scene by scene. So if this movie sounds interesting to you, go watch it. I don't know if it's streaming, but you can buy it on Blu-ray and be a physical Blu-ray collector and sell your soul to the devil of Blu-rays.
You
like
two
I
can
have.
have a very impressive backdrop.
Yeah, so
It's sick. It's low-key sick.
if you want a salon of stuff, see what I did there? Like I do.
Plug-in.
Just buy the movie. It'll be good. It's a good buy. We're gonna go straight into questions. If you don't know what's happening, that's on you. Go watch the movie. First question: what were your initial reactions to Mother? And I mean that as just when those end credits hit. What do you remember thinking or feeling?
The last like 20 minutes of the movie are very jarring. Like it starts out, it's a very slow burn. Like it starts out just kind of seemingly like, oh, this is a weird situation happening, and as it progresses and like there's like that specific moment where everything just kind of hits the fan. Like by the end of it, you're just like, oh my god! Like my heart has like you get these like my heart's been beating so fast, and then it stops for like a couple a moment of respite before it just keeps going. It was a lot. I kind of had to take a minute and go, oh wow, like especially with how it ends of just kind of the whole full circle moment of it, of being like those last couple scenes. I'm sure are very important to everything. Like. That really tie it together if you know the background of it. But I was more than anything just like kind of flabbergasted. Just like wow, like
yeah, it's definitely a huge contrast from the beginning of the film. Also with just the noise levels, it's very slow burn in the beginning, like you said, which means it's also very quiet and like nothing's happening. I kind of wanted to keep turning it up because I couldn't hear anything. But then they'd start talking and it'd be way too loud. But then by the end of the movie, it's chaotic. It's fucking loud.
It's like there's like scenes that seem like you're in like war. I was like, they're in like,
yeah,
did we get like teleported to like the trenches? This is insane.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's literally the music video for One happening in the background.
Honestly,
she's just running through.
Like for
crying.
a moment, I was like, okay. I saw the military come in, and I was like, okay, are we like something crazy is going on? And I'm like, it's kind of going over my head.
Yeah, especially because they're just in a house in like the middle of a field.
Sure.
In the middle of fucking nowhere.
I was sitting there at the beginning of it trying to be like, how do all these fucking people know how to, like, how to get there? And then, like, there was a couple of different thoughts of, like, the initial family, like, after all the shit happened, like, leaked the address, or, like, it was embedded in the poem, like it was a part of the poem. And
yeah,
watching it go from poet writing poetry to full-on cult.
I think there's more to it than that. I think the people started finding the place because they're looking for it.
Okay.
And it's very metaphorical. And I'll just say this right now. Not really a spoiler if you've seen the movie. A lot of this is mirroring the Bible.
Sure.
Yeah. So like that family that pops up. That's Adam and Eve as the mom and dad. The sons, Cain and Abel. One of the sons kill one of the other sons.
Sure, okay.
They have their own kid. All of a sudden, she's pregnant. They have a little Jesus baby that dies. He has it just to die. And all that.
Fucking just watching the crowd surfing baby.
Oh.
It's just like, this is it. And then hearing the crack in that scene was just like, oh my God, they just snapped this infant child's neck.
Yeah. The crack mixed with, you see the head kind of, it's split-second moment, so it's not that horrific, but just the sound, and you see the neck just go backwards, and you're like, ah. And she screams because you just know, like, oh, that baby's fucking dead.
That's like when it really just goes to fucking just to all hell.
Oh yeah.
When
you start staring at him.
Well, it's very much like Requiem for a Dream, where it's like it's very slow at first, and like you a lot of character development, and then there's the first oh shit moment that kind of gets things moving, and as the movie goes on, that fucking boulder just keeps getting bigger and bigger until you've got a Raiders of the Lost Ark coming at you, just like, oh, this is fucked.
That is fucked. That's funny. So yeah, back to the scenes that are just mirroring the Bible. That's pretty much what it is. The whole thing is, I have a thing right here. In an interview, Jennifer Lawrence stated that the film is an allegory and depicts the rape and torment of Mother Earth. Her character represents Mother Earth. Javier Bardem, the poet, is a form of God. That's why at the end he fucked up. He'll just recreate it and start over, which I thought was really cool. Michelle Pfeiffer is Eve to Ed Harris is Adam. There's Cain and Abel, and the setting sometimes resembles the Garden of Eden, so that kind of makes sense.
I see it a lot more now, because when you initially said it's like it's just kind of a step-by-step thing of the Bible, I was like, but now giving each character like a thing, like giving Jennifer Lawrence's character like
and then like straight up scenes where he finally writes something and then it gets published and then everyone starts showing up because they've gotten the word of God, you know.
And how quickly they become violent.
Because God says we can share everything. We can have that. It's all of ours. And that's when their fucking house turns into a Call of Duty scene.
Literally like Modern Warfare 2 trench warfare shit.
There's
riot shields in the living room.
People, SWAT teams. I think there was a Molotov cocktail getting thrown in the house at one point.
I remember sitting there at the beginning of it just worrying about like, oh, they're going to have such bad water damage. It's like, oh, you should, like, that's a biohazard right there. Like, you call somebody to clean that up. And then by the end of the movie, it's literally like an army barrack.
There's not even drywall. It's just down to the studs. There's fucking nothing, dude.
They've got like, they build a tent city in like their living room. It's the contrast within, like, if you take the middle 45 minutes of the movie or like the last like half 45 minutes.
Yeah.
It goes from like full ass house that has a sink pulled out to
Yeah, it'd be a very interesting movie to have like on DVD that like skips and you're like, you're in the first couple scenes, and it just skips to the warfare, and you're like,
you've got
this
that
is the same movie.
You've got that fucked up VHS that just gets foggy for a little bit, and then you're like, whoa.
Okay. We kind of covered a couple of the questions, which is totally fine because we're just shooting shit, bro. So I'm gonna go a little bit forward. How did you feel about the relationship between Jennifer Lawrence's and Javier Bardem's characters? How do you feel about their relationship, Jennifer Lawrence being Mother Earth and Javier Bardem being God?
I think it's pretty accurate overall to a lot of things. It was hard to watch through the movie because you wanted, I mean, at least I felt for Jennifer Lawrence's character through the whole thing of just being like, she just wants her peace, she wants her quiet, she wants her person, and like her person is allowing all of this stuff into their home, and like watching kind of the greed layout over it as well. It was very divisive. There were moments where I felt pity for Javier's character, but overall it was more just like more disdain than anything.
Yeah, there was like a couple parts where he would snap and be on her side or like back her up. But yeah, he was a classic horror bad boyfriend.
I loved the line at the end because it was something that I echoed a lot. Not too long ago, actually. You didn't love me, you just loved how much I loved you.
Yeah,
like that.
That's a good line.
Yeah, like I heard. Well, like I said, I've been like it's been something I've thought about a lot within recent history, and it's like hearing that and like the story around all of it. Like, one, it helped me kind of link it all together. Like, oh, I see the dichotomy of all of this, and then especially once it repeats and it's just a different person in bed, it's like, oh, so this is something that's been happening for who knows how long. Like, it's very, very Samsara-esque. Very,
and it also makes you wonder how many times he's done it too. Because we've already talked about how this movie wraps around and basically starts over from the beginning, but with a new woman. And that first scene is a different woman from Jennifer Lawrence. That first face we see that's on fire, that's a different chick.
I didn't notice that.
So at the beginning scene, when you see his hands put the crystal down and the house comes back to life, that means he's already failed once before. Jennifer Lawrence is the second one that he failed with, which is crazy. So like, how many times?
Well, that's why
is he doing this?
That's why.
Like, is it supposed to happen that way?
Like, if it's like an allegory, like I think it's just this, like it's the cycle of suffering kind of deal. Like it's this.
Yeah.
If they're using it as an allegory for the world and religion and kind of how the two don't how they don't coexist.
I was gonna say it would be interesting to see if it ended up being something like, no matter what he did or what she did, the end result would always be the same.
That's what I was assuming they were getting at. Of like this cycle repeats indefinitely because neither will learn.
It'd be interesting to see how others have played out though. If they ever want to do a sequel, doubt it.
No,
but
I think that would. I don't. I wouldn't want to try to second
cool,
up
though.
either of those performances by either Javier or Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah,
like,
the fact that they have me like thinking about that, I feel like they did a good job executing what they wanted to do. So kudos to them. Were there any specific scenes that left a lasting impression on you, either positive or negative?
The quote one definitely stuck in my head.
Good quote.
Other than that, the killing of the baby and the eating of the baby was
ooh yeah.
I wasn't
vile.
Wasn't ready for it to get that crazy. Like I knew it was getting crazy, so I was like, okay, there's gonna be some crazy shit. But then I was like, I shouldn't be surprised with like. I was watching. I was like, yeah, this guy made Requiem for a Dream. Like this definitely lines up.
Oh yeah.
But it was still great. I like when movies kind of save that shock factor. So I really like Hereditary.
Oh yeah.
Of like Hereditary is a real slow burn, but the last however long of that film is just crazy. This film gave that, except it was like it had that 3-stage kind of feel: the build up, the like ramp up, and then the hit. Like shit hits the fan.
Oh yeah.
That baby scene will stick with me for a while. Like the baby getting crowd surfed, and all you hear is.
I do remember that. I like to point out when Maddie likes to jump and like say weird things during movies. When that scene happened, I did notice Bailey go like, "Oh."
my mom's a NICU nurse. I just know how, like, one, the baby probably wouldn't have made it as far as it did. Like, literally coming right out of the womb and getting crowd surfed like you're at a Bon Jovi concert. Like,
oh man.
But you could feel it in that scene of like the room is getting tense, and like as they were very soft at first, but as they got closer to the table, they were jostling the kid more. And
when I initially heard about this movie, I thought that there was going to be even more like graphic violence with the baby being eaten, because I heard there was a baby being eaten. So I'm glad it wasn't as graphic as I heard it was.
No, it
was kind of like once she finally gets up there, you see the baby's already been torn apart.
Yeah.
And it's already been passed around, and everyone's eating, just chowing down on these baby bits. It's still horrifying, but it could have been a lot
they were
worse.
Holding what looked like Vienna sausages. Just
they were eating like communion, dude.
Yeah, like hands out like this with like a slimy Vienna sausage. Like nasty.
Baby.
No, but like it wasn't like aggressively graphic. The like one in the carcass itself, looking at it, they made it like real. Like it barely looked like a human carcass.
Yeah, you saw some ribs. Some guts. I would say for me, other than the baby, the closely after that when she stands up for herself and starts just fucking slicing and dicing. But it's right after that when they start kicking the fucking shit out of her.
Oh,
I those are hard scenes for me to watch in movies. When women are getting obliterated by people. Like rape revenge movies, I cannot do. I hate those.
That scene was very, very fucked up. Like, especially like the of course
sound.
Like Javier's character comes in like right in time, but like right before that, it started to like tearing off her shirt and like stuff where it's just like
She was getting black eyes. She like if she would have survived the night, she probably would have had a swollen face the next day.
Oh yeah, it was very, very brutal. If it wasn't for just the kind of the third act where everything gets crazy on it, like I could definitely see how the movie is just more of a story of how a woman is being like manipulated, taken advantage of, gaslit into what the poet is wanting. Especially in the beginning with like the initial like people coming into the house, like
why are they here? Oh, they're fans of mine.
Yeah, it's very quick, and like the cough too. I was curious at like what is he sick, like what's the cough? I get that he's like on his deathbed and all of that, but like what is the?
He's got the fucking plague.
Yeah. I was going to ask when that starts, like, when did this come out? A COVID movie?
Yeah, so that is nowhere to be found in here either when the movie takes place. It's a lot like the movie It Follows, where it's ambiguous, where
it's gotta
someone's got a phone with pictures, but they also got a landline, or...
Yeah, I was gonna say it's got to be like sometime in like the 2010s, is because like with the smartphone was like, a kind of a like okay, it's at least like sometime around here, but then everything else is like landlines and like the old school refrigerator.
Yep.
But then later on, from the refrigerator, there was the whole. I was looking at the sink, and it was like a very newer looking, like kind of like big open sink.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I have no idea when this movie happens. I want to say sometime after 2010.
I mean, who could even say this movie takes place on Earth?
Honestly, that was the thing of going back to like the whole cycle of suffering of like this is just like the suspended moment in time. And I'm curious about that too because of how quickly like it just kind of nonchalantly skips forward like 9 months with everything of like writing the story and her getting pregnant, and then all of a sudden she's like ready to go and all of this stuff is happening again. Like she I might be getting the timeline mixed up because she felt the first kick when he had already gone and published. She read
I think this all happened within a couple days.
Even the pregnancy section of it.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
I feel like it's very like fantasy-esque for that. I don't know.
Especially everything that happens after that when the house becomes a barrack.
Yeah, but like when she's waking up and she's like, "I'm pregnant," he's like, "What?" And I'm pretty sure it's literally the same day that it's like later in the day that she looks down and she like already has a stomach and it kicked already.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I was like, is there like I was trying to figure out like is this supposed to be like a transition? Like is there supposed to be a time hop, or did that like just happen?
I don't think there's any time hop.
Because I feel like that's what they were trying to get at with some of those really long... And then there were a lot of really long scenes throughout the whole movie, but especially at the beginning when she's... when Jennifer Lawrence is, like, walking through the house and, like, the many different, like, walkways into different rooms, and it's a single shot caught on, like, the hallway side of it.
Yeah.
It definitely made it feel like they're trying to be like, this is all taking place, like, congruently. Like, even, like, the times for sleep felt very like it just kind of happened and like you didn't even see it.
Yeah, dude. How did the film's intense atmosphere and pacing affect your viewing experience?
Definitely made the ending of the movie more like more attention grabbing. I because it was hard to tell for like the first half of it of like what I'm supposed to expect when it comes to like the pace at what that it's supposed to be getting scary, because like I picked up pretty quickly on it's like, okay, this movie is gonna pick up over the course of the whole thing. Like there isn't gonna be like moments of action and then like respite, and there was a little bit of that, but
yeah,
pretty much once the heart breaks, it's
where was your mind going at first? Where did you think the movie was going?
I thought it was just gonna stick with that family.
Okay.
I thought that family was gonna get very interweaved into the like the pregnancy of the like pretty much what happens to them after that initial moment. So the whole turn with the writing of the poem and it being like a religion, like the start of
the
cult.
word of God. Yeah,
like literally being. Is that what that whole, like, when she's reading the poem, that whole, like, little cinematic they do right there, like, the cut they do with the house and, like, it all, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was, I liked how it played out. I will say, though, the ending was, like, the pacing of that was almost, like, a little too much at times. Like, near the end with the baby, again, with the baby, like, all of that was just... And I think I think a part of that too is the moment of respite before that, being back in the initial study and like just holding the baby and then fucking the end is giving her the mean mug.
Yeah, because I can't remember what she exactly said, but she was like, "You ain't fucking touching my baby." Like,
and he sat there and waited until she fell asleep.
Oh, and that scene, I think they recreated like dozing off in a really good way.
Oh, for sure.
Because literally, she has the baby in her arms, and like for the split second, like she was probably out for more, like for a minute or two. But that's what dozing off feels like. You just like close your eyes and you wake back up and you're like, holy shit, where am I? And then the baby's gone.
I think it's going back to the tie-ins with like God and Mother Earth and religion and all that. It's very interesting how they kind of portrayed the son of God in that time of how crazy it is right before he's born. Then when he's born, it's silent, and like they're getting gifts and they're being left alone. And then the moment he's brought into the world, it's like, all right, like, cool, this is cool. This
literally
fucking sucks. Let's crack its neck.
Everybody wants a piece of him. Literally.
Yes, they start tearing him apart and eating him.
And then they eat that body of Christ.
Babies are made of Vienna sausages.
How did you feel about some ambiguity of the characters' motivations and actions throughout the movie?
I thought the ambiguity of the wife of the fan. I can't remember any of their names.
Michelle Pfeiffer?
Yes.
Yeah. Eve, apparently.
That makes more sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
She touched the forbidden fruit and
Yes.
broke it.
Okay. Yeah, the whole
broke the crystal.
The whole Adam Eve bit is definitely playing along. Who in the movie then is there supposed to be a devil? Like,
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah. Because all the other people that like come in at the end, they're all followers.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think they're. I'm sure if you looked at it way closely, I bet you could see some of the prophets in there. Like the one guy that came in with the book.
I figured real quick that the people that were helping them have the baby and all of that were
Kristen Wiig. Out of nowhere, she was in it.
I was like, they're either supposed to be saints or they're supposed to be like, the wise men that like
wise men, angels, whatever you have it. Like, Kristen Wiig was playing like his publicist or whatever, so that's got to be some.
Is the studio supposed to represent the Garden of? Is the whole house the Garden of Eden, or is it just that studio room?
Pretty sure the whole house is, because like around it is just kind of like beautiful nature.
So so before that, so it's like before the apple or the crystal's broken, it's all decored up. But right after that, he shuts the doors and like covers everything and like makes it look very manger-esque, almost as if he's like preparing for it. Like this just kind of came to mind, but like, is he like willingly and actively playing out the song and dance? Like,
it might be,
because like, why in my head, like, if that were to happen and it were so important to you, like if the cycle's repeating over and over again and you're trying to get it right, like, what is the need for prep?
Just makes me think more that he's done it so many times.
Yeah, it's probably. I wonder too if it's a thing. It's like a place or something, like it, like wherever we're like. I'd be curious if like the scenery around it changes as time goes on. Like if the house is like actually stuck in time, like whenever it's supposed to be, or if it just is a thing that exists through the ages that like maybe it needs to. Maybe it's like a universal like balancing trick.
Yeah, dude.
Like, just keep this cycle going, and like I'd say things will not go to shit, but it's not working. Make a part 2.
Make a part 2. I don't think anybody will go see that.
No, I'm good with where it's at.
So on to the last couple questions. I'm gonna check the camera in just a second, see how much time we got left. But what do you think the director Darren Aronofsky was trying to convey with the film's controversial and shocking moments?
I think it's a lot of it is just to kind of show like that humans like can be brutal and barbaric depending on what's swaying them or what they're following, like how it's like very quick, like again back with that baby scene of just like how very like, and even with the family before that, like when they first came in, they were very nice, they were caring about rules, and how quickly all of that switched. I think it's just kind of showing that, like, at heart, like, humans are pretty barbaric, instinctual creatures that, like if they have, like, that mob mentality kind of thing, if I'm in people that, like, feel this energy, like, this aggressively, like, I'm just gonna go with it because, like, it feels good to let out just that, like, inner animal almost. So yeah, I think those scenes are important because and I think they're done well too. I don't think they're overdrawn. Like, a lot of the really brutal scenes in the movie are very quick. Like, they're not overly drawn out. Even the baby scene is, like, maybe it's a little bit longer, but it's like a minute or two.
A good part of why those scenes are shocking is because of how quick they happen.
Yeah. Like, if you weren't paying attention, like, you could miss whole sections that are, like, some of the more shocking moments in the entire movie.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you were looking away for a second, you would have missed the baby dying. Yeah. Honestly. Yeah. It was a split second, you heard it, and then if you were looking away, you would have looked back and been like, wait, what happened?
Same thing with just, like, the scene that happens right after that with Jennifer Lawrence, like, getting shit kicked out of her. Like, quick.
Gross.
Rapid succession shit. Like, even, like, the death of the brother. Like,
that really happened just fucking out of nowhere, dude.
I loved the picking up of the object. I like, seen him pick up and run around the corner. Her go, no, running after him. And that slow-mo right before the hit is just like, oh. And then the light bulb scene at the end. At the end of all that, when she's, like, trying to clean it up, and she goes down, flips, like, again, so quick, and it's just like, oh my god, that is Cat 3. We need bio out here, hazmat, everything.
We need a trauma unit out here.
We need concrobium, antimicrobial spray up the wazoo.
All right, friends and monsters. Hey, buddy. You haven't made any appearances yet. I don't think they can see you down there.
Big old dog, right?
Big old dog. Big old Gumby. So before we get to the final question, I have a couple more. Did the film's non-linear and abstract narrative style work for you? Are you into that sort of thing?
Yeah, I like a movie that makes me think.
Me too.
And that one wasn't really that difficult. It was more of just how quick it had. Like, I figured that it was gonna be some kind of, like, big full circle thing with that first scene being so intense, and, like, with the house burning. I was like, okay, there's some kind of, like, begin again, end again cycle going on. But otherwise, like, no, I really liked the pacing of the movie. I liked slowly ramping, and, like, the idea of time kind of being thrown out the window for some people. I wanted to bring this up earlier with the scenes in the study when she has the baby, of, like, looking out the windows and seeing how, like, one scene it'll be sunny out and the next one it'll be dark again, and like, and it's incongruent scenes, so, like, they're just talking about stuff while, like, day and night are just flying by.
Oh yeah.
Like, it almost makes me, like, and I'm sure I will at some point or other, like, go back and watch it again and, like, try to keep track of, like, what is the day and night cycle in this fucking movie? Like, how long does this take? I'm curious if it's 7 days.
Ooh. Me too.
I wonder if there's
you know, put it in the comments.
Yeah,
we're gonna look that up.
I have a
sneaking suspicion.
I have a suspicion. I'm not gonna say I'm sold on it, but I think there's a good chance.
7th day, he destroyed it and started over.
Yeah, fuck the rest. Extreme Makeover Home Edition. That shit.
So before we get to the actual last questions, obviously this channel is movie based, mainly horror movies. We'll probably do other films in the future sometime. I'd like to do a Marvel movie podcast with one of my buddies. Tell me if you think that'd be cool. But to my actual question, I like to give everyone a lot of recommendations throughout the episodes. So, like, earlier in the episode, I'll probably put up posters for all of Darren Aronofsky's movies that we already mentioned, like Black Swan and Requiem for a Dream.
Sure.
Like, go check out this director. He's a great director.
Ass to ass.
He's
Ass to ass.
he is one of the. I guess he's a really big director.
Yeah, he's
Aronofsky is like a huge name,
I mean,
household name.
Black Swan won so many awards.
Black Swan did, and he did The Whale, Brendan Fraser. So it's good. A lot of memes, but it's good. So I would like to ask you, what types of movies are you into in general, or horror? Let me ask you that first. What are your favorite types of horror movies?
Big fan of psychological horror.
So something like this?
Yeah, this is right up my alleyway. I like this. I really liked Hereditary.
Check out episode 1.
I liked Talk to Me when we watched that.
Talk to Me was great. Yeah, we were actually gonna do that for our first podcast together. We just didn't have time.
I had to go. What else? I'm trying to think of some other ones. You ever see White Noise?
No.
That's another one that's really good about ghosts through like radios and TVs.
I've heard of it.
Yeah.
Have not seen it though.
Another one I really like, The Game.
The Game. Oh, I know that one.
Yeah. That one's also that one's not as much horror, but like same kind of idea. It's like there's a lot of very suspenseful, horrific moments.
That's a Fincher movie.
I think so.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was. I'm pretty sure he made that after 7. So that makes sense.
I'm trying to. Yeah. And I mean, 7's another great one.
We're talking about the one with Michael Douglas, right?
Yes.
Yeah. That's a David Fincher movie.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
That's with horror. Otherwise, like I'm a big fan of like psychological thrillers too. I love Inception. What was the other one that you lent me for a while? That was very Inception-esque.
Oh, Tenet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's really good.
Also by Christopher Nolan.
Yep.
You are one of the few people that I know that actually likes that movie.
I thought it was really good.
I mean, I'm biased. I love everything Christopher Nolan, but
Sure.
I think that movie's underrated.
It wasn't the same feeling as watching Inception, but like
yeah,
the feeling was there, which I thought was really cool. Like I love Inception's up there with one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Like
Tenet had some crazy effects because everything's like going in reverse half the movie, which is so cool. So it didn't. I feel like it just didn't hit a lot for a lot of people because it was a little confusing.
Sure, I mean,
but so was Inception. So like whatever.
Get good.
Get smart.
Big brain.
Get smart.
Unsmooth that brain. Get some wrinkles. It's good for you.
If I were to ask you what, like, your favorite or a favorite horror movie, would it be different from what you've already said, or?
Ooh, it'd have to be a mix. It'd be either like Hereditary or Blair Witch.
Ooh, Blair Witch.
Because Blair Witch is that kind of psychological horror that like really, like, I mean, of course I watched it the first time knowing it was fake, but like,
okay,
yeah, I was already.
It's still creepy, dude.
It's still very
even
creepy.
Knowing it's fake now, I still get chills.
I remember as
scenes.
a kid, like when I before I had watched it fully by myself, my mom was watching it on TV, and I was like watching it with her, and like it got to a point where I was like it wasn't even anything like super scary. It was just them like finding the bundles of rocks, the effigies in the trees. Now I was just like, and like took off.
Those scenes would make me creeped out. But the scene that really did it for me was them waking up in the middle of the night to hear their missing friend screaming in the distance. That shit terrified me, and I had no idea about any of the "this is a true story, it's fake" or anything like that. My parents just had it on VHS, and I put it in one day. So I was like, Is this a real thing?
That's a crazy way to watch it too, because like VHS, there's no like press play or anything. Like you just put that in and it goes.
Yeah, I just put it in. I don't think there was any trailers.
I have a feeling that they probably would have made it as like
as authentic as possible.
Trying to get the younger generation that'll watch it at some point or another.
I think there were special features after the movie.
Sure.
Something like that. But yeah, I just popped it in and
Because that
scary, dude.
When was Blair Witch? Like late 90s?
98 or 99.
Because I remember they made like a website and like they had like actual missing persons like.
Oh yeah, they reported them
Yeah.
missing, and then the actors and actresses, they went in hiding.
Yeah.
They
Like, that's-
were in motels for like a couple months and not talking to anybody. People thought they were dead.
It's insane. Yeah, and then being like, hey, here's their fucking VHS footage. Check this out.
Yeah.
And you have some dude staring in a corner while someone else gets just whacked.
Yeah. That movie's great. I would love to watch that with somebody on here on the Horror First Timers channel.
You gotta get somebody that doesn't know all the
I
backup.
got to find someone really blind on it. So
Which might be hard.
if you haven't seen Blair Witch Project and didn't just listen to us spoil the whole fucking thing, let me know and we'll do a podcast. We'll do a podcast about it. Last question, and then we'll plug some stuff and we'll get out of y'all's hair. Would you recommend the film Mother to others, and what would you tell them to expect?
Yeah, I'd recommend it. I'd kind of give it the
Jesus.
I'd give it the warning that I give most people who I suggest Requiem for a Dream when they're wanting something that's like a shock factor movie.
Oh yeah.
It's like it's really good, but like be ready, it's heavy. Like it's heavy and it'll kick you real freaking quick, so be ready for it.
Oh yeah. You got anything else you'd forgot to say or want to add or anything about the movie?
No, I'm pleasantly surprised by it. Like I had no expectations going in besides the side of the sleeve looked really cool.
Yeah.
And
hell yeah.
it
I
was
like
great.
I like having a mix of guests that maybe don't know anything about the movie, or maybe they saw the trailer once when they were a kid and just haven't seen it and think it's something that it is, but it's actually something completely completely different. If I can talk, holy shit. So yeah, this was dope. Mother's cool. Go watch that movie. Thanks for being on here, dude.
Thanks for having me. It was a lot of fun.
You're welcome. Hey, bud.
It was,
Finally awake. Nice.
Oh, look, now you're gonna show your face. Gumby.
Yeah. Oh my god, you're pathetic. So yeah, we're gonna do more episodes, obviously. Gonna try to have more guests on. Probably get to 10 episodes and then take an actual break so I can make the production on this series a little bit better. I'd love to have you on again at some point in the future.
I'd love to be on again.
Gotta have his band on at some point. I think that'd be cool. Where can we find you? This man's in a band. Go follow his band. He makes really good music.
You should just follow my band. I'm not that cool.
Plug your
my
band, dude.
My band's called Careful Gaze. We're out of Minneapolis, Minnesota. Our @ pretty much everywhere is @Careful Gaze, one word. We're on all the streaming sites, Spotify, Apple Music, probably Tidal. There's a good chance of Tidal.
If you use Tidal,
Yep.
go on it, bro.
We play heavy music, we play sad music, we play energetic, upbeat music. It's cool.
Do you guys have anything coming up or anything you just put out that you'd like to promote?
I just dropped a single called Jackfruit. It's got a music video. It's on YouTube.
How long ago was that? Couple weeks? Month?
Oh, more than a couple weeks. It was
Month or two?
April.
More than a couple months.
May or June,
Okay.
because we released it after we got back from the last tour.
Okay. So yeah, look up Jackfruit, dude. It's a good song.
It's cool, and we'll be touring out east sometime soon. Touring back out west because we love the West Coast.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like you can find me, if you find Careful Gaze, it won't be too hard to find me. I'm tagged in everything.
You heard it here first. Go find him.
Yeah, look at my Instagram stories. I post what music I'm listening to and really, really dumb memes.
Yeah, he's very interesting.
making me sound like a stale piece of egg
No,
bread.
dude.
This
We
guy's
love
got
him.
crust on one
We
side.
love this guy.
It's
He's
so
in a band.
whack.
He's in a band. Go listen to his band. He's awesome. Follow us here, or just me. It's just me. Follow me here at Horror First Timers. If you want to see more movie reviews or see more things from my collection, follow Tugboat Salon Stuff, and you'll see that stuff.
Tug's got a lot of really cool stuff.
I got a lot of cool stuff, and I've been picking back up on posting just random stuff from the collection. Just the other day, I posted a whole post on why I like the video game, the Deadpool Xbox video game, and if I should sell it or not, because people are selling it for like hundreds of dollars right now. It's crazy.
I'm not kidding. Like, the Salon of stuff, like, Salon's being nice.
I just thought
the collection is impressive.
the collection is dope, and it's ever growing. So if you want to see it at Tugboat Salon of Stuff on Letterboxd, on Instagram, YouTube, Facebooks, and then Horror First Timers, the actual show, YouTube and Buzzsprout, which is where you can get all your podcasts. So listen to me there, watch me here. That'll be it until next time. So yeah, love you, bye.
Get out of here, you filthy animal.